And then later in life, I went through high school. I got into Purdue. I got into the engineering program. The first day of class, they said, to the thousands of kids, we were in this big general engineering session, and they were talking about the different disciplines of engineering, and they said, look to your left and look to your right, because only one of you will be here in 4 years. And I looked to my left and I looked to my right, and I said, see you, boys, to the other guys. They both happened to be there 4 years later, too. But it was a tough program. And after my first year, I didn't find a summer job. But I was 19, 20 years old. It was okay. I had a great summer. I partied. I had a good time. I didn't work. I didn't make any money. By the time my sophomore year came, I knew I had to get a summer job. I had a tough time. But my dad's company had a program where students, parents, or employees who had kids who were in college got at least one summer opportunity. Everybody but the blind kid at Purdue. And so my dad went into the human resources office, and my sense was he pounded the table and he raised hell, and I got a summer job. And I worked as a janitor that summer, and I was a real good janitor. And I learned a very important lesson, that every job matters. It doesn't matter what your job is, somebody's counting on you to get your job done. And that's important. I also worked in the machine shop a few times until the big boss found out the guys were letting the blind guy run the machines. And then I got banned from the machine shop. So I went on to my junior year, but I knew I needed an experience in engineering. And I couldn't find one again. So I got creative, and I found a way to get a job. I worked for free. I didn't carry a sign that says, we'll work for free, but I found an opportunity to do an internship for free at a company. And I even actually was fortunate to turn that into some general engineering credit with the school. So I actually got free turned into at least 3 credit hours. But that gave me an opportunity to talk about problem solving in a serious way on my resume. And so I came around to my senior year. I'm feeling pretty good. I get pretty good grades. The Purdue placement office was awesome. And they got me interviews with any company I wanted to interview. And I really wanted to interview because I interviewed with 50 companies. And I got 50 rejection letters. Wow. And we called them ding letters at Purdue. And there was some silver lining because 10 ding letters got you a free beer at Harry's. So I went to Harry's, and that practice discontinued 10 years earlier, so back to bad luck. Finally, in June, after graduation, with a little bit of stick-to-itiveness, I got 2 job offers. It's pretty good. They were with AT&T and IBM. So it took the big companies to take the shot on the blind engineer out of Purdue. And I went to work for AT&T. So it was a great opportunity for me. 7 out of 10 blind people in this country aren't working today. I'm beating the odds. And I start off my career with AT&T. It goes really, really well. I end up leaving to go to Harvard Business School, come back to AT&T. I worked in mergers and acquisitions, and I got to go be the president of the wholly owned subsidiary a couple of years later, which led to my opportunity with National Industries for the Blind, which really took many of those lessons that I didn't learn from my dad and my mom and put them into reality for me. The importance of tenacity, the importance of advocacy. And that's what Goodwill does. Goodwill advocates for the people that we serve day in and day out so that we can influence public policy in a way that hopefully creates the best environment possible for success in your community. But tenacity and perseverance, advocacy, surrounding people with the tools and the support so that they can achieve their full potential, were all those things that my parents somehow gave me that Goodwill gives to 2 million people every year. So it's the right place for me. We call it within Goodwill the Goodwill burn. And it speaks to the passion that the people of Goodwill have for their community. And so for me, it was pretty easy to get that burn quickly. And it was pretty easy to really visit so many operations and speak to thousands of people, people who face struggles every day, and understand what that Goodwill is doing on their behalf. So for 2 years I've been with Goodwill. You kind of understand why I'm so excited about it. But now I know that we have to change, because I believe that our relevance is greater now than it's ever been before. And part of the reason for that relevance to be so great now is because we have an obligation, and we actually have the capability and the capacity to make a difference in a large way throughout this country and really throughout the world. We have a social enterprise model that's self-sustaining, that creates an employment platform for success, that creates an economic engine for programs and services at a local level that allows and we have a model that allows Goodwill to meet their local community's needs. I don't sit in Washington, D.C. and make any determination on what's best for you. I can't. We don't have that visibility. We don't have that insight. But we have a model that allows us to figure out what's best here, and when it works in other communities, replicate it and scale it and do that quickly. And that's what we're working to do day in and day out right now, because we do think that we have an obligation and the capacity to do that. And I think, it's demonstrated because in 2008 we served about 1.5 million people. So it's pretty significant growth in terms of the demand. And I don't think we're even fulfilling the demand that's knocking on the doors of Goodwills around the country. But we have to think differently. We have to think differently across the entire Goodwill movement, just like Bob had to think differently when he came here 10 years ago. We have to reinvent ourselves every day. And we have to come up with new strategies and new approaches so that we can meet this onslaught of demand that's coming at us every day. But we can do it because we believe in the human potential. And we believe in the power of work and what that does for the dignity of an individual and how it allows a person to gain the independence that all of us have. That all of us have. So that they can contribute to their community just as each of you do, probably every day of your life. So thinking differently is an important part of what I try to encourage our Goodwills to do, and for friends of Goodwills to do, and for Rotaries to do in collaboration with Goodwill every day.